All right, this is the last video on emotion, and we're going to be looking at stress and health. And so we're going to be taking a look at how to promote your health, how to improve your health. So the first thing is kind of a holdover from Module 43, is psychoneuroimmunology. Best way to say it is very slowly so you can pronunciate it correctly. So psychoneuroimmunology is basically studying how psychological, neural, and endocrine systems all affect the immune system. So basically the psychological part, we're looking at how stress, for example, affects your immune system, neural system, the neural network, how your neurons interact together. Your endocrine system, remember, is your hormones that travel through your bloodstream. So they all affect your immune system. And remember, your immune system is basically what protects you from getting sick, for example. So they all go together to be able to look at how they affect your immune system. Now, within your immune system, you can talk about lymphocytes. And there are two types of lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. And B lymphocytes basically are the parts that of the immune system that go and fight infection. So for example, you get a cut on your leg and they will go and fight off bacteria and make sure that you're not going to get gangrene and have to have your leg cut off, for example, right? T lymphocytes, on the other hand, are going to protect against cancer cells. And so T lymphocytes will go and be search and destroy of any foreign cells in your body, for example, cancer cells. But these are the ones that also will go after, for example, if you have an organ transplant. If you don't take your organ transplant rejection meds, T lymphocytes will go after that new organ in your body. So lymphocytes are helpful in basically protecting you against not only bacteria, but also infections, okay, as well as cancer cells. All right, so Module 44 is dealing with promoting health. How do we promote health? Well, first of all, we have to look at how you cope with stress. So there's two ways basically to deal with stress. So one way you could deal with stress is by focusing in on the problem and coping with the problem by trying to change the stressor, how you deal with the problem. So for example, you just heard now, which you shouldn't have, but you just heard now you have a test tomorrow in AP Psychology. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? This causes you stress. Ugh, I'm just really stressed out here. So what do you do about it? Well, problem-focused coping is where you deal with it. You work through it. You work through your test review. You talk to other people and review together, right? You work through the problem. You attack the problem. Same idea as if you, for example, have an argument with your parents, right? You're having an argument with your parents. Maybe it's about curfew. Maybe it's about money. Maybe it's about privileges, whatever, okay? If you're problem-focused coping, you are going to work at it head on. You're going to work through the problem with them. You're going to talk it over with them. You're going to come to some sort of conclusion. Whereas emotion-focused coping is when you avoid the stressor and you're just dealing with your emotions instead. So what you may do then is that you go and for example, you go to your room, you slam the door, you run out of the house. That's not dealing with the problem, right? The problem is still there. If you're emotion-focused coping, you're going to go and talk to your friends, for example. You're going to go talk it out with one of your friends, and you're going to talk through things with them, but you're not solving the problem. You're getting rid of your feelings and your emotions. You're dealing with your emotions, but you're not dealing with the problem itself. But you need to do both. So I'm not emphasizing problem-focused coping versus emotion-focused coping. You need to do both, okay? All right. You also have to take into consideration control. When you feel like you have more control, you are less vulnerable to illness and you experience less stress. Think about it this way. When you have a project in school, if the teacher assigns you a project and you say, okay, you're going to do a project about this topic. So maybe you're going to be doing a project about promoting health, for example. Okay, the teacher could tell you that, okay, everybody is going to create a presentation or everybody's going to create a video or whatever. Okay, that doesn't give you a whole lot of control over the project. Whereas if they offer you a bunch of different options where they say, okay, you can either do a movie, or you can do a presentation, or you can do this or that, you feel like you have more control over it. And so you experience a little bit less stress. Whereas if they just tell you everybody has to do a video, maybe you're not good at videos, right? And so it gives you more stress from that standpoint. Okay? So when you feel like you have more control, you have less stress. And when you have less stress, it leads to less illness. Same idea as if you've ever visited somebody, for example, in a nursing home. Okay? Nursing homes, they plan out every single little thing, a lot of them, to the little details of what the residents are going to do. However, these are adults. They're used to being able to do things on their own. So they get frustrated and they don't feel like they have a whole lot of control over things. But if you go and offer them options, and for example, studies have looked at, just offering options as far as what they do for their free time. We're going to do an activity. What kinds of activities are you interested in? Do you want to play a game? Do you want to make a craft? What do you want to do? Right? And what they found is that when they have more control over what they can do, they are going to be a lot healthier and they're less vulnerable to illness. So feeling like you have control, you feel like this, you feel like, yes, I can get things done, I feel less stressful. Also, promoting health, how you cope with stress. Being optimistic as a whole and having social support can also help with stress. If you are overall an optimistic person and you feel like you are looking things on the positive side of things, not saying that you're ignoring things, so not saying that, oh, we have a test tomorrow, oh, it'll all work out in the end, I don't need to study. No, that's not optimistic. Okay, that's being unrealistic. So having some social support to be able to support you through this can help you get through stressful times as well as bring down your vulnerability to illness. All right, now we're going to look at managing stress. So how do you manage stress? So first of all, managing stress, you have to, one of the things you could do is exercise. Exercise can help make your mood better as well as reduce stress. For some people. Some people find exercise even more stressful. So this guy says exercise is a great way to reduce stress. And the other guy says speak for yourself. Oh my gosh. Some people find it more stressful to try and incorporate exercise. If you're stressed out already, chances are you probably have too much stuff to do to be able to incorporate exercise. But for a lot of people, it can reduce stress. Biofeedback is another way to reduce stress. Biofeedback, I know it was in the book, but I wanted to talk about it because I know some people kind of didn't quite understand how it works. But biofeedback, basically you go in to, for example, a doctor's office, somebody that actually does biofeedback, and they will hook you up to a bunch of machines, and they have a bunch of monitors, and you can actually watch, and they will actually test your, for example, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your brain waves, all of these things, and they will show this report right on your computer monitor while you're watching it. So they will do something that they will kind of cause stress. So maybe they'll have you imagine one of your daily hassles that adds to your stress. And then you're going to go and they're going to watch on the monitor what happens to all of these physical responses. And so then they will teach you some of the things to be able to alter those reactions. And so they will go and teach you, for example, relaxation techniques. And so you will practice it while you're still hooked up to the machines. And so then you can go and watch all of your monitors, all of those things hopefully drop. Okay. What they found is that it's kind of controversial because biofeedback is generally more successful with headaches, for example, not necessarily so successful with daily hassles and stress. But it is a technique that some people have used. Another way to manage stress is just simply through relaxation and meditation. If you've ever tried, for example, yoga. Right? Yoga has a large meditation part to it, which the other part can be exercise. But the big thing is that for some people, they have a really hard time being able to meditate and being able to relax. You need to find something that works for you. And what I would recommend is that find something that works for you, but don't give up on something just because it didn't work one time. So if you attempt to meditate and it's just not working for you, okay, well, try it again a different time. Don't just give up on one thing after once. Okay, so keep working at it. The last thing to take into consideration is religion. And religion is actually a very good predictor of health and longevity, so good health and living longer. The question is why? Well, there's a bunch of things that add to this. So one of the things is that some religions, for example, promote more of a healthy lifestyle. So for example, they may prohibit, if you're talking about Judaism, they prohibit eating pork or any type of the pig, right? If you're talking about Hinduism, the cow is sacred, so they don't eat any cow. Now, it's not saying that all of that is bad, but it does help, cut things down. A lot of them, look down on people who, for example, drink too much. That's a big thing about health. You can also talk about religion also encourages social interactions in a social support system. This goes back to that idea that we talked about with needing to belong. When you have people as a support system, it can reduce your stress and it can increase your health and longevity. Even prayer. Prayer can be very meditative. There are a lot of prayers that if they are said correctly and in a certain tone, that they can be very calming effects and they can actually be a source of meditation. So those are, again, instances of how religion can help increase health and longevity. You can also even talk about a lot of most major religions encourage marriage. And when we looked at your stress level, when we looked at the different brackets as far as your life status, people who are married has the lowest level of stress. Why is that? Well, it has to do with the fact that they have a social support system. So they're all kind of linking back together. So religion, while it's not just religion by itself, you have to be a very avid practitioner in your religious faith, but they can have really great impact upon your health and longevity. All right, that is it with Module 44. Let me know if you have any questions.